Diddy. Power, fame, and the shadows behind the spotlight. He built an empire from nothing. A mogul, a visionary, a cultural icon. But behind the platinum records, the designer suits, and the flashing cameras, there's a storm brewing. Sean Diddy Combs isn't just a name in hip-hop. He's a name at the center of lawsuits, FBI raids, and a rising tide of allegations that could reshape his legacy forever. This is the story of Sean John Combs, known to the world as Diddy. But this isn't about music. This is about the controversies, the crimes alleged, and the power that may have protected him for decades. Let's begin. The rise of a mogul. Sean John Combs was born on November 4th, 1969, in Harlem, New York. His father, Melvin Combs, had ties to the street life and was killed when Sean was just 2 years old. Raised by his mother, Janice, a hardworking model and teacher's assistant, Diddy grew up with ambition running through his veins. In college, at Howard University, he interned at Uptown Records, quickly making a name for himself in the music business. By the early 1990s, Combs had helped launch the careers of artists like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci. But in 1993, after being fired from Uptown, he launched Bad Boy Records, and the rest is hip-hop history. He discovered a young Brooklyn rapper named Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G. The two formed a legendary partnership. But as Bad Boy Records rose to dominance, so too did the violence, and with it, the controversies that would follow Combs throughout his life. The club shooting and criminal charges. Let's rewind to the year 1999. At the height of his fame, Sean Combs was dating Jennifer Lopez. On December 27th, the couple was involved in a shooting at a nightclub in Manhattan. Witnesses said an argument escalated between Combs' entourage and another group. Guns were drawn. Shots rang out. 3 people were injured. Combs fled the scene in a Lincoln Navigator, with Jade low in the passenger seat, and was pulled over by police. Inside the vehicle, a 9mm handgun. Combs was arrested and charged with weapons violations and bribery, accused of offering his driver $50,000 to say the gun was his. His protege, rapper Shine, was also charged, ultimately convicted of assault and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Combs faced 15 years if convicted. But in 2001, after a high-profile trial, he was acquitted of all charges. Some called it justice. Others called it celebrity privilege. Jennifer Lopez ended their relationship soon after. Whispers behind the wealth. Diddy continued his rise. Bad Boy expanded into fashion, launching Sean John, a clothing line that made him millions. He ventured into reality TV, alcohol branding, and luxury lifestyle ventures. He became hip-hop's first billionaire contender. But along the way, accusations never stopped, they just got quieter. Former artists began to speak out. Many who had signed with Bad Boy, Maze, The Lox, Mark Curry, claimed they were taken advantage of. They accused Combs of shady contracts, unpaid royalties, and manipulating young artists desperate for fame. In one interview, Maze accused Diddy of buying his publishing rights for just $20,000 when he was broke, only to withhold them for decades. Others called it business. But some saw a pattern of exploitation, control, and silence. The Cassie lawsuit, a turning point. For years, the darker rumors surrounding Diddy remained mostly in hip-hop circles until November 16, 2023, when a bombshell lawsuit dropped. Cassie Ventura, a singer and Diddy's ex-girlfriend of over a decade, filed a civil lawsuit in New York accusing Combs of rape, domestic abuse, human trafficking, and psychological manipulation. In the 35-page filing, Cassie alleged that Diddy physically assaulted her, drugged her, and forced her to engage in sex acts with other men while he watched, sometimes filmed. She described a relationship of coercion, threats, and violence that spanned 10 years, starting when she was just 19 and he was 37. Within 24 hours, the case was settled out of court.
Fast.
Too fast, some argued. Diddy's legal team called the settlement amicable, but made it clear it was not an admission of guilt. But in the court of public opinion, the floodgates had opened. The avalanche of allegations. After Cassie's lawsuit, more lawsuits followed, and more disturbing stories emerged. In the following months, a second woman sued Diddy, claiming he gang-raped her at a college event in 1991 when she was 17. A former producer and employees alleged he ran a sex trafficking ring, using his wealth and power to manipulate and control young women. Reports began to tie Diddy to federal investigations into sex crimes, racketeering, and even gun trafficking. What was once whisper became wildfire. Then came the most public move yet. On March 25, 2024, federal agents conducted coordinated raids on Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, were reportedly seeking evidence related to sex trafficking, abuse, and illegal surveillance. Videos showed armed officers swarming the properties. Diddy's private jet was tracked. He was reportedly not arrested, but questioned. He denied all allegations. His lawyers called the raids a witch hunt. But the message was clear. Law enforcement was no longer looking the other way. The power that protected him. Many now ask, how did Diddy avoid accountability for so long? It's a fair question. He was more than a rapper. He was a gatekeeper, a kingmaker, someone who could make or end careers. His influence stretched across entertainment, politics, business, and media. He donated to causes, mentored young artists, and positioned himself as a mogul for Black excellence. He became untouchable. Some of the people now speaking out say they were afraid, that they signed NDAs, that they were threatened, that they were ignored, and maybe, just maybe, that silence helped build a brand that shielded him for decades. But now, that shield is cracking. The bigger picture. The allegations against Diddy don't just tell one man's story. They echo a larger pattern seen in Hollywood, music, and beyond, where fame and power shield predators, where the industry rewards silence and punishes those who speak up. It's the same pattern we saw in the fall of Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and others. These are not isolated incidents. They're part of a system. Whether or not Diddy is found guilty in a courtroom, the cultural trial has already begun. People are reevaluating his legacy, his music, his deals, his empire. Companies are backing away. Awards are being reconsidered. And survivors are being heard at last. Conclusion: fame, fear, and a legacy on trial. Sean Diddy Combs built himself into a brand synonymous with success. But now that brand is on trial, not just in courtrooms, but in the eyes of the public, in the stories of survivors, in the silence that was finally broken. As investigations continue, the world is watching and asking, what did we overlook in the name of entertainment? How many voices were drowned out by beats, fame, and money? And will justice, real justice, ever come? Headphone OUTRO, slow, thoughtful fade. This was the story of Sean Diddy Combs, not the icon, but the man behind the headlines, lawsuits, and allegations. We may not have all the answers yet, but one thing is certain: the truth has a way of coming to light, no matter how long it's kept in the dark. This is Blissful Little Life YouTube channel, and subscribe for more voice-only crime stories every week. If you found this episode compelling, subscribe, share, and leave your thoughts below. Until next time, stay aware, stay informed, and always question the silence.